There's a basic formula for quantifying the ROI of quality improvements. Number of defects prevented times the cost per defect divided by the cost of prevention. But what is the cost per defect? Typically, manufacturers calculate the cost of a defect based on easily understood figures like COGS and scrap. But the true cost of a defect has the potential to be exponentially larger. Here's an example. Let's assume you make stationary bikes. One of your customers has a defective bike. You may incur only a few $100s in shipping and scrap costs to replace that defective unit. But what if the buyer of the bike is an influencer who tweets their frustration and endorses your competitor? Suddenly, that single defect is costing you millions in lost sales. Standard ROI models for justifying quality investments struggle to account for these improbable but entirely possible outcomes. For example, traditional models typically cover the costs of what we call the investigation phase. These include teardown, root cause analysis, stock production, inspection, and management oversight. And these traditional models cover some of the costs in what we call the remediation phase. Scrap, rework, recalls, sorting, warranty costs, assembly line countermeasures, field repairs, and additional production, overhead, and support. But it's those improbable but real costs that confound standard ROI models. We call these fallout costs, and they can include labor issues such as low morale or stress, OEM-ordered site inspections for suppliers, increased warranty reserves which eat up your cash flow, customer churn, and brand or reputational damage. And these fallout costs are especially hard to accurately forecast, which in turn makes it very difficult to calculate your true ROI for quality improvements. Drishti is thinking about better and more holistic ways to measure ROI from quality improvements. We've developed a proprietary methodology that accounts for all of these outcomes and lets you weigh them by likelihood of occurrence and potential cost. When you think about quality, you have to think about the worst case scenario. Like the Samsung Galaxy Note 7, which exploded in people's pockets, or Takata airbags, which resulted in the loss of human lives. Most defects are unlikely to turn into nightmare scenarios, but unlikely doesn't mean impossible. And that's the butterfly effect in action. You can never be sure of the exact impact of a single defect as it cascades through your entire value chain. But you have to account for this uncertainty anyway. The right investments in quality can prevent defects from triggering major problems down the line. Drishti's ROI model helps you know what the right investment is.